Fuksa, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in. I decided to put together some interviews with some people that I know and some people I don't know that I've heard about that just have an amazing entrepreneurial spirit, have wanted to try something and do something and decided to figure out how to make it happen. And so I'm interviewing those people to share their stories with you guys. So they're sharing on their pages, and then I'm sharing on my Facebook Live, and we'll also be sharing through YouTube later. But this morning, I have the amazing opportunity to speak with Jim Procaccini, and Jim is going to tell us all about what he decided to do, his story, what he's doing now, and how he's out helping over make things a little bit better, especially in the environment today. Jim can speak kind of directly to some of those pieces as well. So, Jim, thank you so much for your time today and being on live with us.
Thank you, Connie. I think this is a great idea that you've worked out. And let me just say, you've done it so professionally that I'm amazed.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, technology helps a whole lot. Although I will say I have to apologize, you guys, for being just a few minutes late because we tried to be really punctual, but sometimes technology doesn't want to always cooperate. So if we have a glitch, understand that we're all working from home right now and we're trying to figure out how to make it work, right? So,
well, some of us are working from a boat, which makes it even worse.
And then there's that, right? And if you're so lucky as to be like Jim and work from living and working on a boat, it's just amazing. So. So Jim, tell us a little bit about you. There's a lot of people out there that don't even know who you are, which is impossible that that's the case because you're such a very active figure in the business world. But tell us about you. Tell us who you are and how you got to where you are, and give us just a little bit of your backstory.
Well, I'm from Rhode Island. I left there in 1981 and moved to Delaware. Lived in Delaware until 2005, where we moved to Maryland and built a house on the bay in Chestertown. Lived there until 2016, when my son, even though I'm old, I have a young son. It was time for him to go to school. He's a great athlete, and we wanted to send him to a school that would foster his skills. So he ended up at McDonough in Owens Mills, Maryland. And he lives there, but the first 2 years, it's worked out so you have to pick him up on the weekend. So we sold that house, moved to Kent Island temporarily to be able to work, which my office at the time was in Newark, Delaware, in a different industry, which I'll tell you about. And basically after he was able to drive on his own, he was, we were more flexible. Unfortunately, we got divorced in that process, and I looked at my options of where to live, and I loved Kent Island, and I wanted to be on the water, so that's why I'm on a boat, and I've been here for the past 3 years.
Talk about being on the water. People who want to live on the water. Most people don't think about choosing to live on a boat. That's fantastic.
Well, that's outside the box thinking for sure.
For sure it is. Absolutely. Well, and you guys need to know that if for some reason we do have some technical difficulties, he has a little bit of a challenge when you talk about internet. So all of you who think, including me, who was belly aching last week about internet, we all think that, we have the worst problems. Well, remember, there's always somebody who has a little bit more of a struggle. So keep in mind, if we have any struggles, that poor Jim is living on the water and sometimes may have a little bit of struggle that we'll have to work through. So it's wonderful to have you on. Thanks so much for telling that. So tell us about the business that you do. What did you do before, and how did you get to where you are now?
I got here a very backdoorish way. Going back to 1984, I was going for my MBA, and at that time a thesis was required. And in 1984, you're really looking around for who's going to type it for you. And then I saw this, right? Then I saw this room full of IBM PCs, like the original ones. And I sat down and mastered, at the time, the software program was Volkswriter Deluxe, and wrote my thesis. And I loved the whole concept. And I'm like, why would anybody ever do this by hand anymore? So when I graduated, I sought a job in that industry and started working for this company in Wilmington, Delaware, Infosystems, and I was about the 6th employee. Now, by the time I left there in 2003, we had grown to 450 people, and we were a $100 million company. And
Wow.
I really would have had no reason to ever leave the place. But a sad occurrence in 2001, the owner of the company's younger brother, 25-year-old kid, commits suicide, puts this veil of darkness over the whole company. The owner blames himself, kind of steps back, and has the CFO running things, who had a different vision than the owner.
Yeah.
And he wanted to just keep all the big clients. He wanted us actually to fire the smaller clients who weren't spending a certain amount of money per month. I saw an opportunity basically to take the crumbs off his table. And I started up my company, Technology Matrix, which kind of catered to the IT needs of small people who couldn't justify having a guy sitting there waiting for a problem to happen. So from 2003 to 2013, we grew it substantially. And in 2013, we were bought out by a larger company, a cabling company, who wanted to provide IT services to their clients. So they bought everything: the clients, the assets, the people, and me. And so I worked there.
Well, that
For
must
a
have been
couple of
pretty
years.
expensive to buy you.
So it was great. And I did work there for a couple of years, but always looking at what I was going to do next. And I know one of the things I needed was health coverage. And at that time, I had no clue what was happening in the health insurance industry. And when I went to,
roughly, when
I'm
was
sorry?
that? When was that?
Well, 2013 is when we sold the company. And it was by 2016-ish, or maybe a little bit before, maybe 2015, that I went to the marketplace, and like everyone else would go, and it was like a mortgage payment. And I searched for options, and that's how I came across US Health Advisors. And I mean, I fell in love with the product, the people, the process. And I thought that this is the right product at the right time, and I'm the right person to deliver the message, having gone through it myself.
Right.
So that's how I'm here.
Nice, nice. So the company that you work for is US Health Advisors?
Correct.
Okay. And so what talk a little bit about that. What do you guys offer? I mean, sort of on a general level.
I mean, generally, we offer an alternative to the ACA plan, the Affordable Care Act plan. But for individuals, 1099 people, like the realtor, someone who doesn't have access to a group policy would have to go to the individual market, and that's where we compete. And our product is a lot stronger than an ACA plan, and a lot less expensive. But the big catch with this is that you have to qualify medically, and that's where obstacles come up.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I mean, there's obstacles in everything that we all deal with. So it's just understanding, how different things can work in different environments. That's all. So that's really interesting. So, when I started talking to them about doing this series of interviews, they said, oh, well, I don't own my own business. Well, I'm not necessarily talking about people that own their own business. I'm talking about people that have that spirit and see those visions, like you just really explained, which is really interesting because so you went from working for a company that did IT, but you started doing that because you had to. This is such an interesting evolution of your story, and it's just so interesting. It's so cool to bring to our audience. So I really love how you explained that evolution to how you got to where you are now. So we talked a little bit about your kind of business. And one of my questions is, so everybody has a superpower and people say, well, I don't even know what you're talking about, but what is that thing that like sets your hair on fire that makes you just, not just want to get up in the morning, but when somebody talks about it, you're like, oh, I get all the tingles. And it's like, oh, I'm really excited to do that. So personally or professionally, or maybe there's one of each, or maybe they sort of coincide or they, slam into each other every once in a while. So tell me about that. Tell me about Jim. Tell me about Jim's superpower.
My superpower is people. I mean, people don't realize it, but I thrive with other people, and I kind of, it's kind of crazy, but I suck the life out of people.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
I take their energy and just throw it back at them, and it's like fuel to a fire, and I connect with people really well. because of that. I mean, but all it is just throwing back their own energy, and
So
that's my
basically, you could do whatever you wanted to as long as you were working with other people and somebody who had some energy.
exactly that.
Ah, that's fantastic. I love to listen to you, like I said, how you, it isn't a specific job type. Most people say, oh gosh, I want to, like Laura, we talked to earlier. I mean, she realized that she needed to help herself with some food situation. And then she turned it and realized that it was more growth in her own mind that then started dictating. So, but for her, it was a path. For you, it's been not a specific item, but it's been, I guess the specific item is seeing a need that needed to be filled, understanding the need and figuring out how to fill it.
Correct. And
Yeah.
it hit me right in the face,
Right. So you feel like each of these hit you, you were just at the right place at the right time and it smacked you and said, this is what you need to do now.
Correct.
So
go ahead.
Go, no, please.
And I'm not sure if this is. I mean, just it seemed like the right thing to do. All of these occurrences. I don't know really what's best for them, but I usually thrive in this environment. A people-based environment.
So I know you do a lot of networking. As a matter of fact, that's how we met, is through some people that I know. And for clarification, Jim does my health insurance and has just done a fantastic job of navigating me through some of those pieces. But I know, hearing your conversation, I know you love networking and meeting with other people, and the avenue of the insurance is you feel very strongly about what this product offers, but more importantly, it's the people that you're helping because you are the people person. Do I hear that correctly?
You got it exactly right, Connie.
I love it. I love it. This is a great story because, all of us, people say to me all the time, well, as I said, I'm not an entrepreneur, or maybe I don't do this, but for you, what you've done is found the success in your work environment by tapping into the thing that you love to do, which is working with people and giving them resources or things that they can use to enhance their life. And you found this product to be very important, one of those.
Yeah, and I become a hero in their lives. I mean, for a little while, if you save somebody $300 or $400 a month, that's that's something substantial that they can really enjoy. Why not go to dinner a couple extra times a month?
Or give them coverage that they maybe didn't have before because now they can afford it, to add on additional coverages that they didn't have an opportunity for.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So how long have you been in the healthcare side of of the world? How long have you been doing that?
3 years.
Okay. All right. And so do you see that that is your long-term goal? Like you really found this is a great spot for you because of what you like to do personally and because of the business, what it offers for you.
Yeah, I mean, I really have no other, I'm on the back nine of life. It's not like I want to go out and start something
that's
else.
relative. I have to be honest and tell you.
So, I mean, the way it's structured, it's very, you can do it or not do it. You can, no, there's no pressure. You're all, you're 100% on your own. Nobody is paying me a salary to sit on the boat, unfortunately. So, I mean, it's
now
something I can
find that.
Sure. I guess that would be called the captain.
Well, that's true. I am a little curious, and I imagine everybody else is, being a people person, being on the boat all by yourself. That's got to be a little bit lonely for somebody who has the people energy that you do.
Well, we have a lot of parties on the boat,
Good point. Good point. And then, of course, you're in a marina with other people that are like-minded, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a pool, there's a clubhouse, there's jacuzzis, and then of course, that's only operational in the summer, but in the winter too. There's a community of about 20 people, and it's a pretty tight community. We try to do we have functions together,
Nice.
as a marina. Cookouts. Someone just last week, someone just got their captain's license, and his wife threw him a little surprise party, and it was great. I bought
Very
him
cool.
a little bottle of Captain Morgan rum. You know?
How creative.
Yeah, I thought it
That's
was great.
cool. So back to you and what you're doing for a living. So I understand why you choose it or why you've chosen that. And so I guess what is the number one most common question people ask you when they meet you and learn what you do?
Well, I mean, the whole thing is, why is, what's the difference between what you do and what else I could get in terms of insurance? That everyone wants to know that. And so it's a process, and 95% of my, as you know, 95% of my interaction is personal. I meet with the people. We sit down. We have lunch. We had lunch at Hellas's, right?
Yeah, we did. Good memory. It's been a while.
And and I really like it that way. But my company has been structured ever since I started with them to really be more remote, to do the application and the interview of the health interview, to be able to do it all remotely. And I just haven't adjusted to that at all. So I do everything in person. However, things are changing. And maybe this is the impetus I needed to get better at the remote aspect of the business. And if you do that, then I'm able to actually sell in more states than just Maryland. Because right now I'm pretty restricted to where I can drive. Although
So are you licensed only in Maryland, or do you have to be? Tell us a little bit about that background. So to become somebody who provides health information, healthcare coverage, what are those responsibilities? What do you have to do to be able to do that?
Well, you need a general health and life license, which the state gives you after passing an examination.
Okay.
But then my company, of course, have the overlays of being able to pass their examinations about the products and things like that. Then once you are licensed in a particular state, you can apply for a license in another state. They call that a non-resident license. And up until a few months ago, you could pretty much go wherever you want, get a license wherever you wanted. Our company is only in 32 states, so of course I was restricted to that. But recently there's been a change where, like, Pennsylvania announced that only resident licensed people are able to sell health coverage in their state. Well, Maryland at the end of this month, it's going to be the same way. So typically my company, there's like this like a call center out of Florida, and with a lot of people. I mean, upwards of 85 people, and all they do all day is call people all over the country. But something like 65% of all coverage in Maryland is sold by this Florida concern, which, I mean, it drives me crazy.
That's surprising.
Right. So at the end of this month, you have to have a resident license in Maryland to be able to provide our product in Maryland. So that's a help.
So when you said earlier that the number one question that you get all the time is what's the difference in your coverage? Give us a little bit about that, because, I'm sure, I mean, I understand because you and I have talked before, but I think most people don't understand. Everybody thinks that now the government runs our insurance and that's our options, and that there aren't other options. And of course, if you go searching things online, then you get phone calls and emails and barrage from people without getting real information. So share with us a little bit about that, because obviously it got your attention. It's a passion. It's something you thought about, and entrepreneurs, particularly who don't have access to those group plans, this could be an option. What does that mean? What is it? What is the difference?
Well, I mean, two areas that are really different. Mm-hmm. Number one is maternity. We have no benefits at all for maternity. So, a young couple starting out wanting to have a family, we're not a good option.
Okay, fair.
A second area of difference is mental health. We provide no coverage for mental health at all. So someone who has a propensity for that, I mean, they may not even get in to begin with, but if it's something that comes over time, it's not something that we're going to cover. Now, that being said, all of our coverage comes through the Cigna PPO network of providers. So as long as you stay within the Cigna network, you're going to get a substantial discount on anything that you do. So, but that's pretty much, that's those two areas are very much the difference. And of course, the overlying factor is that, you know, the ACA plan has to take everybody. Okay, no matter what. You have a heart attack today. If it's during open enrollment, you're in. Whereas, that would preclude someone from getting coverage with us.
I gotcha. Well, but hence, obviously, those are the reasons that the premiums are more affordable in some cases, or more competitive is the better answer, I guess, because you have the ability to make those choices.
That's correct. Absolutely. And by excluding, they call it a preferred risk. I mean, no matter what, there's something anything can happen to anybody at any time. It's just sometimes luck of the draw. However, if you're already coming into the group with that issue, that's just going to cause premiums to go up for the whole group. And that's and that's where, we differ. Those are the three big areas.
I gotcha. So if, and this wasn't on our list of questions, but we're going with this, so I just want to throw something out there. So if I wanted to reach out to you just to try to get some other information, how do I get in touch with you so I can at least understand it? I mean, obviously, maybe it isn't going to be face to face because maybe I'm somewhere in Maryland that isn't convenient to meet with you face to face. So how do I get in touch with you to try to understand this a little bit better? And right now, before I say that, am I right in understanding right now you only write insurance? You personally only write insurance for people that live in the state of Maryland. Is that correct?
No, I'm licensed in several states. I just
okay. Okay, very good. But so I mean, a lot of the people I have contact with are all over the country. And so, what are those states you are licensed in?
Offhand, it's several, but like Virginia. Pennsylvania, but of course that's worthless right now because you have to be a Pennsylvania resident. West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina.
Okay.
We're not too much north of Maryland. There's no place north of Maryland that we write business. But virtually anywhere where we do business, I can at least connect them with the person who, even if I don't have that particular license, I can still connect them with the person there and even act as an intermediary.
Okay. So how does somebody get in touch with you?
The best way is to call or text me.
Okay. So we can put your information, your contact information in the feed when we're all done so people can get in touch with you. Email you, call you. Okay. We'll do that.
I have no life other than doing this. So I'm always available.
Have parties with people that live in a marina. That sounds like a fun life. So let me ask you, how do you, I know you do a lot of networking. Are there other ways you share information about your business?
Not really. I mean, I've played around with Facebook every once in a while, just putting something out there. And every once in a while, somebody will react to it. But, by far, my greatest bang for the buck is by meeting people, mostly through John Maggio's networking groups.
Right. Well, you and I need to talk more because I can help you be on Facebook and talk a little bit more to people about stuff as you're trying to go virtual on how to share stuff about what you guys have. So you and I need to talk a little bit more about that.
That would be great.
Okay. And the last thing I wanted to ask you real quick as we wrap up is, so if you got stuck in an elevator with 2 people or 3 people and it got stuck and everybody was going around the elevator saying, tell me what you do for a living. Tell us your infomercial. Tell us how you tell people in 10 words or less what you do.
I tell them I fix elevators for a living.
The guy who figures out how to fix the problems that are right in front of him.
But more generally, I mean, basically what we do is we group healthy people together and reward them with drastically lower premiums, leaving them with more disposable income that they can spend on their family.
Now that, my friends, is an infomercial. You obviously have had some practice. I absolutely love that. Well, as we wrap up, I just really wanted to say, you guys, you know, as I've said, this is a series about trying to bring people who have that entrepreneurial spirit to you so you can see that no matter what you want to do, you can do. You just have to let yourself follow what that thing is that's setting your hair on fire. You know, so far you've seen just in our 2 interviews that the both people have an energy or passion about something, and somehow it brought them to where they are within their business or within what they're doing in their life, or both. So, and in Jim's case, obviously it's you know, being around people and working with the energy that people have and figuring out how to do that in industries that have shown themselves. And this just seems like an absolute perfect industry for you, Jim, to be able to share that talent of helping people and, you know, releasing that energy. So I can't thank you enough for being on live with me today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Connie. And it's a great, and this is a wonderful idea. Unbelievable.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I just, you know, my passion is to try to bring people together and help them tell their stories. And I personally, through my business, do help business owners, leaders, small businesses, you know, grow their footprint by telling their story. So I work with them to break down the story, figure it out, how to be able to tell it a little bit better. And so I just can't be more happy to be able to bring all these stories to you guys. And so, Jim, enjoy the rest of the day on the boat. It's not raining today, so you should have a good day. Open those blinds and enjoy the sunshine.
I think it's time for a bike ride.
Well, there you go. That sounds like a perfect thing for the rest of the day. Well, just stay that 6 feet away from everybody.
Yeah, well, don't worry.
All right, sir.
I can't keep up to anybody.
There you go. All right, I'll be talking to you again real soon, Jim. Thanks so much for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.